Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Not Minding My Own Business. I am your estate planning and elder law attorney, Russell Farbiars, and I am joined here today by Jim Cinelli and Ralia Vardaxis of the Reading Science Center. Well, welcome, Jim and Ralia.
Thank you.
I have to say this is exciting to have you on our show. As of course you both know, I've been on the board for a couple of years, and really excited about all the wonderful things that the Science Center has already done and is going to do. And I understand that the whole idea of behind having a Science Center just was a dream of yours, Jim, and you've made it come to life.
Yeah, it was a fun project to start and see come to fruition. I'm an engineer, and I run a business that hires scientists and engineers. So obviously, I'm very interested in STEM. Very interested in seeing young children get interested and exciting about STEM and pursuing careers in science and engineering. And when I looked around and I saw that other small cities around us like Allentown, Lancaster, and Harrisburg had science centers, I thought, well, why not Reading? This is something that our community is missing, and we should have one. So that I decided to make it happen.
Well, and we're all glad that you did, Jim, because I agree with you that when I first heard that this was forming, that I thought, well, why doesn't Reading have a science center? So what is the mission or the vision of the Science Center?
Our mission is to bring informal, hands-on STEM education to children, primarily children, but it can also benefit adults through interactive science learning. And there's a lot of studies that show to get a kid really enthused about science and technology and interested in pursuing a career in it one day, they have to have experiences. Many kids have to have experiences outside the classroom, and that's the benefit that science centers provide primarily.
So what type of exhibits are at the Science Center right now?
Do you want to take that question, Ralia?
We have everything from electricity, light and sound. We have a wet cell lab. We've got an early learners area for kids to play with magnets or use blocks in an early engineering way to create castles and moats and all kinds of things like that. We have our own Curious in the Classroom, where investigations projects take place, led by an instructor. So everything that you can imagine, sound, light, I already mentioned, forces in motion. There's physics involved, electricity, so many things.
So it sounds like if you're a child interested in science, you could spend a whole day just exploring,
Yes.
right in downtown Reading, which is wonderful. Do you have any other programs that are coming up that would interest some of our listeners?
Well, we are going to have a free and open to the public day on May the 20th, thanks to some funding that we've received through Remake Learning. But it's also an exciting day because PBS 39 will be unveiling a new exhibit related to their Hero Elementary program. So they are bringing a new exhibit to us. So everyone will have a chance to come in that day, unveil the exhibit and interact with it, but also have access to the entire Reading Science Center. And just earlier this week, we actually graduated a group of our sisters in STEM. So that's approximately 35 girls who've been with us for the semester. We have a formal graduation ceremony for them, snacks, cake, balloons. But it became a family affair as well because their parents, their siblings came with them. And so we will be very excited to kick off next semester's Sisters in STEM program. So we'll begin recruiting for that class as well.
So can you tell me a little bit about what the Sisters in STEM program is?
Sure. Jim, do you want to take that one or?
Yeah, that is a program that has been funded by the Georgie Family Foundation. It's an after-school program, 1 day a week, and it's for girls in 4th, 5th, or 6th grade. They have classroom activities with our instructors, but we also have guest speakers come in that are females employed in different types of STEM careers. There might be physicians, there might be engineers, industrial hygienists, biologists, chemists. It's been a great program. We're in year 3, and we're anticipating seeing it extended for several more years through continued funding by Georgie Family Foundation.
That's a wonderful program because you can really inspire some young women to really get into the science field. And I imagine, has it been a very popular program for you?
Extremely popular. You know, we started it in 2020 and had to keep our class size limited just because of COVID social distancing. So it started with a small cohort of 8 girls, and now that the social distancing restrictions have been lifted, like Ralia said, we have a great size class of 35 young ladies that are learning each week about new fields, new STEM fields, and getting to hear stories of women that are in those fields, have successfully gone through education and training, and have great careers. So it's very inspiring to these young ladies, and hopefully it will create future scientists and engineers right here in Berks County.
Wonderful. Now, Jim, I want to go back just a little bit, and if you could talk a little bit about what it was like to get a science center off the ground and open in Berks County.
Well, my background is in technology as an engineer and in business. I started and I operate a small business. So I had those skill sets at least. I had no experience in the nonprofit sector, and I'm not an educator. So I really had to do a lot of research and pull resources, human resources. I got a lot of great response from our community, and as I pulled together committees and a board of directors, some people were extremely crucial in making this happen. So I'm eternally grateful for a number of our volunteers. But we created a 501c3 nonprofit, put together a business plan, started some fundraising, and found a space that would work for us and within our budget. And after about 2 to 2.5 years of planning, we opened in October 2020 in a 7,000 square foot space at 645 Penn Street in downtown Reading, very close to the Santander Arena and the DoubleTree Hotel.
And if, just from a logistical perspective, is there parking available close by?
Yes, we validate parking in the DoubleTree garage.
Oh, wonderful. So if someone's looking to bring out their family, they can park over the DoubleTree and you'll pick up the tab on parking.
Okay.
That's even better, now, do you, in addition to the exhibits, do you have classes that run, when the exhibit is when the museum is open?
Yeah, go ahead, Riley.
Yes, we do. We're open to the public on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And during those days, in addition to field trips coming to the center, we offer a Curious in the Classroom investigation. For our open to the public, we had over the winter done crystal snowflakes made out of pipe cleaners and borax. And currently, the children are exploring luminosity. So we're teaching them how to create an undersea creature and how it's possible in the depths of the sea for luminosity to make it possible for sea creatures. And I'll just tell you a secret. The classroom, if we turn off the lights and turn on the luminosity button, lights up with all of this black light type of lighting. So it's very cool for the kids to see and then be inspired to create their own luminous creatures. So
Wow.
always something
I,
different happening in the classroom.
I'm now excited. My daughter is coming on a field trip to the Science Center
Ooh,
sometime in May. So now I'm really excited for her because I think and you know she's interested in science. Always has been sort of interested in science. So I think it'll be a great trip for her. But it sounds like there's just all these um, neat things to explore.
absolutely.
Now, the Curious in the Classroom, is that something that changes on a week by week basis, or is it the same program every week?
I would say it changes on a monthly basis, but
Okay.
for field trips coming in, we customize the project to the age group of the children that will be there.
Well,
And with the Sisters in STEM program, there's a different program every week. They come once a week throughout the semester and they learn something new each time they're there.
wonderful. So what's coming up for the Science Center? What can we expect to see in the near future?
As I mentioned, the May 20th event with PBS 39, we're going to start our summer programming. So kids can come all summer long to the Science Center. I don't want to preempt too much, but we're talking about doing Science Day, Jim's idea, of course. That may take a few months for us to bring together, but we also have our science, our whiskey experiment coming up in the fall, which is our major fundraising event. You can mark the date on your calendar. That's September the 15th. It's a Friday. For the most part, it will take place at the Doubletree Hotel, but if you buy a VIP ticket, you too can take part in some adult experiments at the Science Center before, and don't be scared by that term, before the main event at the Doubletree. So we're envisioning dry ice and things like that adults might enjoy learning the science about.
And the whiskey experiment, Jim, this was your brainchild. Why don't can you talk a little bit about what happens at the whiskey experiment?
Sure. When we had our first Wixie experiment, right around the time that we opened. In fact, it might have been before we opened. And I wanted to find, we did not have a lot of name recognition. We were a brand new nonprofit, but I wanted to start an annual event. I felt like I needed to provide something creative and something unique, not a golf tournament, not a dinner gala. So I thought Berks County does not have a spirits festival. Why don't we start one and make that our own? So we called it the Whiskey Experiment, which is kind of resembles the big whiskey experience that's held in New York City every year. We had about 80 or 90 attendees the first 2 years, but last year I think we sold over 200 tickets. It's a really, really fun night. There's not just whiskey, there's other spirits, rum, vodka, gin, mostly by Pennsylvania distillers, but also by some national and international distillers. If you're not a spirits fan, that's fine. You can get a non-tasting ticket and have whatever alternative beverages wine, beer, soda is, that are offered at the bar there. And there are also non-spirits vendors, that craft and food vendors. So it's a great time.
You had a nice chocolate vendor there last year, I recall. Uh,
Yeah, I bought some of those and
yeah,
went through them pretty quickly.
yeah. And my tip to any listeners is that if you are a whiskey drinker and you do attend, take an Uber or a Lyft, don't, because
Or
uh,
get a room.
or get a room at the DoubleTree,
Yeah.
because that way you can sample, you can experiment, and not have to worry about the responsibilities of transporting yourself home. Uh, but it's really is a very neat event, and I think you had some science experiments there last year as well.
We did. Solar Systems, Sarah, our main educator, she's our director of planning, was there also with Liz, our volunteer coordinator, and they were doing some fun experiments at our the area that also had our silent auction.
Right. And you mentioned a volunteer coordinator. Do you have a lot of volunteers that work with the center?
We do. We have through the grant from the Georgie Family Foundation. At any given time during the year, we have 3 college interns, in addition to a number of people that will help us on the board, obviously, in committees, but also really just being a presence at the center when we're open, whether it's working at the reception or just serving as a docent in the exhibit area, or assisting with the cell lab, because that's got a lot of materials and it's a higher level. The cell lab was a great donation, valued at over $500,000, and it came to us from the Science Museum of Minnesota. And there are 6 stations, 3 of which we have operating now, where a visitor can go in and do a 15 to 20-minute experiment that is video and audio guided. It's really unique. There's nothing else like it in any of the science centers that I've ever been to, and I've been to at least a half dozen or a dozen. So yeah, we do have a lot of volunteers that make everything happen at the science center.
So the cell lab, what type of experiments can kids do in the cell lab?
Let's see. There is DNA, where you're extracting DNA from wheat germ. There's a experiment station called cheek cells. Due to COVID, we've had to pivot and recreate that. And instead of pulling cells from our cheeks, we use strips of onion. Onions actually have large cells that are pretty easy to see under a microscope. So a lot of things that are very pertinent to the world that we're living in today, as they have to
Yeah.
do with bacteria and antibacterials.
Yeah, very timely, and it sounds like, and I think, this probably goes without saying, but it sounds like it's very hands-on, the exhibits, that it's not just going and looking at something. It's for kids, it's about doing something while you're there.
Yeah, 95% of what our installations are hands-on. We do have some educational storyboards, but for the most part, we're looking to have kids be physically active and learn through experimentation about STEM.
Now, Ralia, you mentioned earlier about some activities over the summer. Are there summer camps at the center, or is it just a list of activities?
It's more a list of activities. We tried some summer camps a few years ago. Because of COVID, we had gotten very low response. So we're going to reevaluate that this year and possibly do summer camps next year. But for right now, we're an access point for other summer camps to bring their kids to the Science Center as part of a day or a week that they may be planning.
Oh, very, very, very nice. And now,
But we're also available for, Girl Scout troops, any other organizations that are out there that still want to bring field trips during the summer. That's a great time to do it because we're not full on with class trips from school districts.
We're trying to
Right.
partner as much as possible with other nonprofits in Berks County, and we've built great relationships and have partnered with the Reading Public Library, Olivet Boys and Girls Club, Berks Nature, and we're very happy to work with those other nonprofits to support and augment their efforts to bring education to our children in Berks County.
Wonderful. Now, what is something about the Science Center that most people don't know that you think they should know about? I'm going to have each of you answer that question.
I built a Bernoulli blower. My favorite exhibit because I built it, but every Science Center has a Bernoulli blower. And so
You built that, Jim?
I'm sorry?
I didn't know you built that.
I built that. Yeah. We have a lot of resources, and we've gotten, I think, 10 of our exhibits built by volunteers. There are 2 electrical engineers that have built about 6 total exhibits for us. Vision Mechanical built the Newton's Cradle, and Exeter School District shop class built our sand pendulums, but Klein Processing Systems built convection currents. But the Bernoulli blower was all mine.
Wow. What about you, Ralia?
I'm going to tell you my first impression when I visited the Science Center was that it was an indoor playground. If you're a kid, you're learning inadvertently a little bit about everything, but you're having such a great time. And I think just the word science sometimes has a fear factor, like I'm not smart enough, or I'm not a science person. But kids just walk in and they're immediately drawn to all of the exhibits. They have no fear whatsoever. So I think what the Reading Science Center is doing is making it possible for kids to love science, without any of that baggage that maybe some of us adults attach to the word science. And I'll just say recently I've been in contact with people who are just walking in and saying, oh, I do this for a living. Maybe I could volunteer for you, or I've created my own exhibits. Maybe we could work together. So it really seems to be a place where people are being drawn together around a love of science. And if you think about it, science is in everything, almost everything that we do. So please come
Absolutely.
visit if you haven't been.
And Ralia, you're the executive director, and I know that this is a relatively new position for you. So welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
And I take it you've been enjoying your time so far.
Yes, I'm an enthusiastic person to begin with, but having children right outside my door, turning machines on, running around, playing with things, it's made me younger, I think, in the last month. It can't help but do otherwise. So yeah.
Absolutely. So what are some ways that the community can support what you're doing, get involved with the Science Center?
I would say if you know children, whether they're your grandchildren or your neighbor's kids, bring them out to the Science Center. As I mentioned, May the 20th would be a great date to check us out for the first time. But, we offer family memberships. So it'd be a great way to give a gift for a birthday or a holiday gift, a year of membership at the Science Center. center. And truthfully, going twice pays for the membership. So you can go there every weekend and every Tuesday if you would like. And it's a really reasonable thing to do with your family. I don't have to tell you how much it costs just to go to the movies with a family of four. It is so much more reasonable, and you're going to learn something in the process. Even the parents will learn something, I guarantee
Yeah.
you.
I always joke that if I go to the movies, I have to take a mortgage out of my house to do so. But certainly to go to the Science Center, not only do you not have to take a mortgage out, but you're really going to learn something and really have enriched your kids and your own lives.
Mhm.
So absolutely. Can you buy those memberships online, or do you have to
You
come into the
can.
center?
Yes, you can go right to our website, which is RDG, short for Reading, SCI, short for science.org. And we've got buttons right at the top of the page to join as a member or make a donation.
Wonderful.
Please
And
do both.
yes. And again, the address is 645 Penn Street
Yes.
in Reading, Park of the
Mhm.
DoubleTree. Get your parking validated. And you
Yep.
said you're open Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Yes, Tuesdays from 10 to 3, Saturdays 12 to 6.
Wonderful. Well, Jim and Ralia, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me about all the wonderful things that are going on at the Science Center. And I hope that I will see each and every one of our listeners at the Science Center sometime in the near future.
We do as well.
Thanks for having us, Russell. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, Russell.